Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. Okay, now children, how is everyone? I hope that you all are well, enjoying your learning, solving the past papers, isn't it? Okay, today we are going to solve one more paper. This is Computer Science Paper 1, Computer Systems. The paper is 221012, May, June 2024. The duration of the paper is 1 hour 45 minutes. You have to answer on the question paper. No additional materials are needed. You have to answer all the questions. You have to use a dark blue or black pen. You are allowed to use HB pencil for drawing the diagrams or any graphs. You have to write your name, center number, and candidate number at the box in the boxes at the top of the page. You have to answer all the questions in the given space. Do not use an erasable pen or correction tool, so please do not take it with you at all. Do not write on any barcodes. Do not carry a calculator because calculator is not allowed. The marks are 75, and the number of marks for each part or the question are given in brackets. You are not awarded any mark if you are using the brand name. So please be cautious, refrain from using the brand names. We are starting question number 1. Data can be measured in bits. Give the name of the data storage measurement that is equal to 8 bits. It's 1 byte, or you can simply say byte. If you say 1 byte, that will be excellent. But even if a student has written byte, that will also be considered as a right answer. But I suggest you that you write down 1 byte. State how many bits are there in a Kibibyte. Now, how many bits? Be cautious. Here they're asking about the bits. How many bits are there in 1 Kibibyte? So for this, what you need to see is 1024 multiplied by 8. Or if you really want, you can write down the value, the final value also, that's perfectly okay. But even if a student has written 1024 into 8, this is also perfectly okay. And be cautious, it's how many bits. If you didn't pay attention to this word bits, you may miss out on the most important thing. Now, give the name of the data storage measurement that is equal to 1024 Gigabytes. And I hope that you remember that it's 1 Tebibyte, or if a student is not aware of the whole full forms, then you can simply write down TIB. Be cautious, T is capital, I is small, and B is again capital because of it being a byte. I hope that we all remember it, isn't it? Okay. Now this part B, your favorite question, no? Okay. A 16-bit color image has a resolution of 512 pixels wide by 512 pixels high. Now, what are we supposed to do here? Calculate the file size of the image in Kibibytes. Now, be cautious. This is your resolution, and this is mentioned here in this form. And 512 pixels wide by 512 pixels high. You have to calculate the file size of the image in Kibibytes. This is your final destination. You have to show all your working. Do not forget that you have to show all your working. By the way, can we recall the formula? Where for calculation of file size, what have we learned? Okay, that's wonderful. Again, you can see it's going to be 16-bit. It means that you can pay attention to this. Why have I highlighted? So you can do the same in your paper also. It's 512 pixels by 512 pixels multiplied by 16 bits. But then you have to do what? The 16 bits value has to be converted to, see, the destination is Kibibytes. So for this, what will you be doing? 512, and 16 are in the numerator. So what will you divide it? What should be coming in the denominator? Exactly 8. And that 8 will convert it into bytes, exactly. For conversion from bytes to kibibytes, what will you do? That's wonderful. Multiply by 1024. So can we do it together in the denominator? Like 5 and 12 and 16 will be in the numerator, and the denominator should contain 8 and 1024, isn't it? Will I do the multiplication here? Okay, that's wonderful, Ali, that you remember that rather than doing multiplication, we will go for simplification. And by the way, you can see it's very simple. It's just going to be the multiples. Let's see how do you want to do it yourself? Okay, we have done the discussion. Fine, that's great. We have discussed this topic. So we have discussed this question. So may you quickly do it, and then we'll see the answers are same or not. Giving you 2 minutes. But remember, we are not going to, again, remember, no calculators, definitely. You're not even going to use a calculator right now also. Okay, that's wonderful, Ali, that you have done it. Just wait for a minute. Okay, that's wonderful. You all have done it. So let's see. Let's verify, is your answer matching with the right answer or not? See, 5 and 12 and 5 and 12 numerator multiply by 16. Then what we did is denominator has 8 and 1024. We have simply cancel 512 times 1 is 512 and 512 times 2 is 1024. Then 8 times 1, 1 is 8 and 8 times 2 is 16. And then we have divided this 2 once again, and we are left with 2 cancelled with this 2, and we are left with only 1 in the denominator and 512 in the numerator. So see, you have done it so quickly, and the answer is simply 512 kibibytes. By the way, just asking, if, for example, the question was asking you to convert it to megabytes, so what will you do next? Excellent, Ali, that you will be going for one more value, 1024, in the denominator. And that's what, if you have remembered, that's very, mashallah, great. Carry on, okay? Now, question number 2. Any questions? See, if you have done the numerator value properly, if you have written the denominator value properly, you have shown the proper simplification, then 3 marks are yours. So simple. Okay. Question number 2. Data can be transmitted from one device to another. Tick one box to show which of the terms is not a method for transmitting data. Now be very clear. One box to show which one of the terms is not a method for transmitting data. Is serial method of transmitting data? Is simplex method of transmitting data? Is parallel a method of transmitting data? Is parity a method of transmitting data? No, exactly. So that is what you will do. You will simply tick this one because of the reason that this is saying not a method for transmitting data. So I hope that we remember serial, simplex, and parallel, they all are the means of transmitting your data, isn't it? Okay, that's wonderful. I hope that you remember it. That's really great. Let's move ahead. Data is broken down into smaller units to be transmitted from one device to another. Give the name of the unit that data is broken down into. Packets, so simple, data packets. We have been talking about this term so often. Part C. Data is often encrypted when it is transmitted from one device to another. Explain how data is encrypted using symmetric encryption. And it's a 4-mark question. So how will you write it? By the way, I hope that you remember what is encryption. And if we talk about symmetric encryption, you can see it's encrypted and decrypted using the same key. So that most important thing is you need to remember that an answer that when we talk about symmetric encryption, it's going to be the same public key that is used for encryption and decryption of the data. After that, what you can write is, you can see any three from. Plain text is encrypted into ciphertext. Data is encrypted using an algorithm that uses a key, and the key is generated using an algorithm, and this key is transmitted to the receiver. So I hope that you remember, if you mention the public key, that's perfectly okay. But these main points should be a part of your answer to score 4 out of 4. 1 mark definitely that you have to use the same key that is used for both encryption and decryption of the data. That is the most important line that you need, or you all need to write. And then after that, you can talk about the explanation, the how is it happening differently in this context. You'll talk about the plain text, the ciphertext, how is it being encrypted using an algorithm, how is it like the keys generated and the keys transmitted to the receiver. So in this manner, you will be able to score 4 out of 4. Be cautious. Your answer should be containing the right terminologies. Give the purpose of encryption. But why do we encrypt the data? See, to help keep the data secure, to make the data meaningless. I hope that we remember, isn't it? Why do we encrypt the data? Simple. Just to keep our data secure. Simplest of all. And it's a 1 mark question. Now, binary is question number 3. Binary is a base number 2 system. Is a base 2 number system. Give the name of the number system that is base 16. That's great. Wonderful. It's hexadecimal. We know it. Now, part B. 3 denary numbers are entered into a computer. The computer converts the numbers and stores them as binary. Give the binary number that would be stored for each of the denary numbers. So we are given 3 denary numbers. One is 10. Be cautious. It's not 10, it's 10, because they have mentioned that it's a denary number. Be cautious. Be very clear about the terminologies so that you are not going to miss them out. Now, just for the purpose of your convenience, I have color coded so that we can recall, and we are not going to make any mistake at all. But be clear, it's the denary number given to you, and you have to convert them into a binary. If you think that you can make a mistake, then I suggest you that you better underline these words so that you are not going to make any mistake at all. I suggest you that you can do it this way. You can underline, you can hide, do whatever you want to, so that you are not going to make a mistake at all. These are the denary numbers entered, and you have to give the binary numbers here. So what will you do? 10, 50, and 201. This is my working space. And I have mentioned this 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. I hope that we all are okay with this. So which bits should be turned on to make it 10? So simple, 8 and 1. Isn't it? The rest of the bits are off. For 50, you can see 64 definitely will be off, 128 will be off, 32, 16, and 2. Because 32 and 16 makes what? I think we have learned the shorter methods of remembering, isn't it? 32 and 16 is 48. So I hope that we remember that. So 48 plus 2 is going to be 50. So simple. Still, if you are confused, you can just add them also. Now 201. For this, definitely this bit will be turned on. And this bit will be turned on as well. That's great, Ahmed. It's an odd number, so that is why this bit is turned on. And this one. Then you can just count and then see 128 and 64 and 8 and 1. If you add them, you will get the result of 201. You have done or shown all the calculations in the working space. You have written the answers here properly, and you will be able to score. See, 10 is 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. Then for 50, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0. For 201, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. And if you have mentioned giving a space in between for your own benefit, that's perfectly okay. If you want, you can put them as a complete byte also. That's perfectly okay. But if you're doing it as a nibble, I think this is more readable. That's why I've done it. Otherwise, you can do in any method, okay? Any issues, any questions? And so simple that you can answer and you will be able to score 3 marks in hardly 3 to 4 minutes. Yes, exactly, Ali. I remember that we have done very complex calculations, and at that time I was telling you, that in the exam, inshallah, you'll be getting questions which are easier. So you can see for yourself that inshallah in your paper also, you'll be getting questions which are easier. Okay. Explain. Now, this is the next part, part 2. Explain why the data is converted to binary by the computer. Why? Okay. Now, computers use logic gates or computers use switches, and these switches are only able to process the values 1 and 0, or it is able to process only 2 states. So if you remember, we have been talking about the word binary, that it's only 2 situations, 2 values it can process. And in this manner, you can easily score 2 out of 2. Okay, part C. The 2 binary integers 0011, 0000, and 0110, 0110 are added together. Add the binary integers using binary addition and show your answer in binary. Show all your working. Okay, now for your convenience, okay, now I've just broken it into different nibbles so you can see for yourself. And in this way, the calculations become a little easy. So 0011 and 4 zeros are written as the first value. And then the next value 0110, 0110. And you can see 0 plus 0, what is it? What is it? Okay, that's great. Very quickly do it. And then you can verify the answers. That's great. Wonderful. Let's see. Is your answer matching with mine? 0, 0 is a 0. 0, 1 is a 1. 0, 1 is a 1. 0, 0 is a 0. Isn't it easy? As far as this nibble is concerned, that is easy. Now let's move to the next nibble. 1 plus 0 is a 1. 1 plus 1 is 0 with a carry of 1. 1 plus 1 is 0 with a carry of 1. And 1 plus 0 is a 1. By the way, can you recall there's one problem that we have learned? That is the problem that we encounter sometimes in binary addition. Can you recall that term? That's wonderful, Ahmed. It's overflow. That's great. Wonderful. Okay, now the denary integer minus 32 is stored as a 2's complement integer. Calculate the 2's complement integer that would be stored. Show all your working. Remember, by the way, how do we do it? It's a negative integer, exactly. It's a negative value. So what, can you remember, can you recall the stages? Giving you a minute, just recall the stages. Okay, that's wonderful. The first stage or the first step is to find out the binary of the number, ignoring the sign. So first of all, first thing is we'll find out the binary for 32. Then what will we do? Second step, flip, exactly. You will invert. All ones become 0 and all zeros become 1. And then step 3, you will add 1 exactly. So just see. First thing is, just for your convenience, what is done here is that we can find out the binary of 32. So simple. Just 32. This bit is turned on and all others are off. What did we do? Next is we have inverted them. So you can see all zeros became a 1 and all ones became a 0. So it was 1, 1, 0, and then 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And adding 1 to it, so you can see. Is your answer matching with mine? 1 plus 1, 0 with a carry of 1, then 1 plus 1, 0 with a carry of 1, 1 plus 1, 0 with a carry of 1, 1 plus 1, 0 with a carry of 1, 1 plus 1, 0 with a carry of 1, then 1 plus 0 is a 1. 1 and 1 are just written as it is. So this is how you will get the value of minus 32. Easy? By the way, just asking, if for example, the examiner had asked you to find out the denary integer, it was written there denary integer plus 32, is stored as a 2's complement. So will you still follow the same procedure? Okay, that's a great, wonderful, Ali. MashaAllah, that you remember that in case your value is a positive integer, then the denary value remains the same. The denary value is treated as the same, and the answer for 2's complement will be exactly same as you have for the normal denary to binary conversion. That's wonderful, excellent. Are we ready for question number 4? Okay. A student uses both system software and application software on their computer. Give one example of system software. Can I write Windows? No, not at all. That's great, wonderful. So what is going to be the answer then? Have you written it? Okay, wonderful, Ali. Excellent. That's great. A student can write down operating system, another can write down utility software, and if anyone has written even disk defragmentation software, another one has written maybe virus checker. So that is also a correct answer, even screensaver. But if a third student has written Windows or DOS or Unix, will the examiner give you mark? No, exactly. That's wonderful that you remember that the brand name is not allowed. That is why C so simple. If you have remembered, you are able to answer. Now, part B. Give 2 examples of application software. Okay, wonderful, excellent, excellent. So there are so many options available. You can say word processor, you can say spreadsheet, you can say database, you can say web browser, image or photo editor, you can say video editor, you can say email client, you can talk about games, whatever, even monitoring and control applications, whatever you have learned, you can write them down. By the way, can I say MS Word? Can I say MS PowerPoint? Can I say MS Excel? Exactly, that is not allowed. So simple. Describe the difference now, Patsy. Describe the difference between system software and application software. So what is the difference? See, it's so simple. System software is needed to manage or maintain the hardware and the software, while on the contrary, application software is there to perform different tasks. That's all. You can answer and you'll be able to score. Question number 5. Instructions are processed by a CPU in a computer. Complete the paragraph about fetching an instruction into the CPU to be processed. Use the terms from the list. Now some of the terms in the list will not be used. You should only use a term once. Now be very cautious. You should only use a term once. This is very, very important that you could either highlight, and this manner you will be able to remember that also, that you are only going to use this once only. Be clear. You are going to use this term once only, not many times. The terms are address, arithmetic logic unit, binary, control unit, CIR, data, denary, driver, fetch, interrupt, MAR, MDR, and RAM. Let's start. And a few other terms: read-only memory, ROM, secondary storage, and signal. The program counter contains the dash of the next instruction. See, I hope that we have been learning this PC program counter and what its job is. Its job is to store the address of the next instruction. So that is why address is the right answer. Again, a caution, you will not start attempting it just then and there. What you will be doing is you will be first of all reading the whole passage, and only then, once you have figured out the answer, so you will not be writing down the answer just there and there. You will tick, you will number them 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you will reread the passage, the whole paragraph. If content with your answer, only then you will write down. Please be cautious. Do not strike out. It is always suggested to go through the paper, go through the question, understand, and then attempt. Okay. It is then sent, this is then sent to the dash using the address bus. So where is it being sent next? I hope that you can recall the fetch execute cycle, and then that data will be sent to MAR. So if a student has written MAR, that will also be treated as a right answer. The address is then sent to the dash, to the random access memory or RAM. Once the address is received, the instruction stored at the location is sent to MDR. I can see the instruction stored at the location. So it means it is data. So that will be actually present to, it will be saved, it will be sent to MDR using the data bus. The instruction is then sent to the CIR that is built into the controller. By the way, if you remember the different registers that are present in CU, CU has CIR as well as program counter. That's great. So if you have remembered these, you have answered it properly, you will be able to score 7 out of 7 because there were 7 blanks. You have filled in every blank properly, you will be able to score. Okay. The CPU uses an instruction set to decode the instruction. What is meant by an instruction set? See, again, if you pay attention to the two words, instruction set means it's a list. And this is a list of commands that can be processed by the CPU. So if you have forgotten, maybe in the exam, sometimes it happens that you forget, just be smart to pay attention to the question, and sometimes the answer is written in the question. So what is an instruction set? See, it's so simple. A list of commands, a list of machine code, commands anyone can write down that can be processed by the CPU. And in this manner, you'll be able to score 1 mark. Okay. The table contains our question number 6. The table contains statements about error detection methods. Complete the table by giving the correct error detection method for each statement. Now let's start with the first one. An odd or even process can be used. Now they have mentioned odd or even. By the way, this just strike your mind that it is going to be parity check or parity bit or parity byte or parity block. So see, a student can write down any, since they have not mentioned any word like specific word like bit or something like that. That's why all these options will be treated as right options because it's an odd or even parity. So for that reason, you can say parity check, or you can say parity bit, you can say parity byte, or you can say parity block. Okay. Part 2, question number 2. A value is calculated from the data using an algorithm. This happens before and after the data is transmitted. Now, again, recall, there are a lot of methods. By the way, can you recall the methods? Parity is already done. Then we have talked about checksum. See, so again, checksum. By the way, which is the other method? ARQ. And what else? Echo check. So I hope that the best thing to do is you write down the key things in your answer. And then you can recall that what is the right answer and you can answer then accordingly. A copy of the data is sent back to the sender by the receiver. A copy. It means it is echo check. Acknowledgement and timeout. It's ARQ. Isn't it easy? I mean, these are the two words that we have been concentrating on repeatedly. Acknowledgement and timeout. Acknowledgement and timeout. So that is ARQ. Now, the last one, a value is appended to data that has been calculated using the data. The value is checked on data entry. It is check digit. So these all are your error detection methods, which you have learned in class. And here they're asked. And if you can recall, if you have actually revised the way we have learned, so you'll be able to, inshallah, answer a question no matter how they are asking you in the examination. Fine. Just be cautious. Just be very confident about your learning. And in this manner, 5 marks are yours. Okay. Now, question number 7. A computer has both a MAC address and an IP address. Tick one box to show Which of the statements is correct about the MAC address? Now, this is what is the question. You can see this assigned by the manufacturer. Now, this is MAC address. Assigned by the manufacturer seems to be correct. Assigned by router? No. Can be static or dynamic? Is static or dynamic for MAC address? No. It is made up of 3 different parts. Is MAC address composed of 3 parts? See, this is also wrong. It means the right answer is it is assigned by the manufacturer. So just tick the box and the marks are yours. But just asking, by the way, static or dynamic is for what? Static and dynamic are the IP addresses, exactly. And as far as the MAC address is concerned, it is composed of how many parts? That's wonderful. It is composed of 2 parts. So have you written it? Have you understood this? Okay, that's wonderful. May you move ahead? An IP address can have an IPv4 or IPv6. Now, an IP address can have an IPv4 or IPv6 format. Part 1, give an example of an IP address that has an IPv4 format. So if you recall, an IP address, if you can recall, like IP address that has 4 values and the maximum is 255. So any example will be okay. Just an example is written here, like this is just an example, like 10.245.3.9. That's perfectly okay. So any student can write any other value. Like for example, a student can write down 34.78.0.1. That's also perfectly okay. There's no harm in but just you remember the example that you are quoting is the right example. Then definitely you will be awarded the marks. Understood? This is also a valid example. That's perfectly okay. But just remember, this is your most important thing. The value should be between 0 to 255 and it should be composed of 4 values separated by 4 numerical values separated by 3 dots. This is what is the main portion. Separated by dots, value is maximum 255 and it is going to be like maximum is 255 and 4 values are going to be there separated by a dot. Any issues? Okay, part 2. Give 2 characteristics of the IPv6 format. By the way, just recall, what is IPv6? I think we have been talking about 128 bits, or anyone can say 16 bytes. That's perfectly okay. It's a decimal value. It is separated. The values are separated by colons. It's characters in groups of 4. Has 8 groups of characters. And double colons can be used for sets of consecutive zeros. Actually, this is zero compression. So if any student had written it, they had accepted this as a valid answer also, because sometimes the students do learn a number of things by reading the stuff, or maybe they have learned it. And if you remember something like that, we have discussed in the class also. And this was zero compression. Exactly, Ali, that's wonderful. So if you have a set of zeros in the whole value, then that can be replaced by a colon, normal, and then another colon. But remember that zero compression occurs once only in your IPv6 format. Okay, so any 2, you're able to score 2 out of 2. And we have been doing this differences between IPv6 and IPv4 repeatedly. So in this manner, you can easily score, isn't it? Okay. A company has a website that is suffering a DDoS attack, distributed denial of service attack. Draw and annotate a diagram to show the process of the DDoS. So, by the way, this is so simple. What is DDoS, by the way? Web server is attacked by unnecessary traffic coming from multiple sources. Exactly. That was the difference between DOS and DDoS. I hope that we remember that. That's great. Wonderful. See, let's see. How will you score? A third party. Now, these are the points that you need to remember. And then definitely you have to draw the diagram And you have to annotate, means that you have to write down the key points also. A perpetrator or third party sending malware, each computer is turned into a bot, and that creates a botnet. Third party initiates the attack. All the bots send a request at once to a web server, and that will crash the web server. So this was the main thing that they expected the students to write, and example is just mentioned. So third party, which is sending malware, and this is going to form different bots, and the requests are sent to the web server. And see, this malware is going to turn the normal computers into bots. And once these bots are attacking the web server, they're sending their requests. So web server will be is not able to handle so many requests, and it may result in crashing the computer system. It may result in crashing the web server. So if you have drawn the proper, like I say, boxes, you have written the proper terminologies, you have drawn the proper lines, you have drawn the proper arrows, so definitely 5 marks will be yours. Okay. Identify a solution that can be used to help prevent the DDoS attack being successful. What is the remedy? What is the solution? How can I protect myself from DDoS attack? Okay, that's wonderful. It's proxy. You use proxy server, and that will help in preventing the DDoS attack to a great extent. Now, question number 9. A company uses both solid state and optical secondary storage. Explain why a computer needs secondary storage. Now, it's a 2-mark question. By the way, why do we need computers? Why do we need a secondary storage for the computers? Secondary storage means permanent. Exactly. And it is there to store the files or data permanently. If we don't have the data stored on secondary storage, then what is going to be the disadvantage? We have to keep on saving the data exactly. And this is the problem. Otherwise, the data of the programs would need to be downloaded, or they have to be entered or installed every time the computer was used. So if you are not using secondary, means every time you have to get the task done once again, and that will be too tedious. Exactly. Or anyone can write down to for the creation of virtual memory, and the student can write down to allow software to be installed on the computer. So there are different answers which are expected from the students, but the main thing is you are supposed to write down to store the files or maybe the data permanently. And if you're not storing it permanently, then there is a probability that every time you turn on the PC, you have to save your work from scratch. So that is why it is suggested to use the virtual memory. It is suggested to use your secondary storage. But we're asking examples of secondary storage, if you can recall. Okay, that's great. HDD and SSD, exactly. Now, you describe 3 differences between SSD, solid state, and optical storage. Now here, very quickly, can we recall and write down the key points regarding the differences between solid state and optical? And then we will discuss. Written it? Now let's discuss. Solid state has no moving parts, while optical does have moving parts. Solid state is faster to access the data, while optical storage is slower to access the data. Not slow, don't write slower only. Slower for what? Slower to access the data. Solid state uses less power to operate, while optical uses more power to operate. Solid state is running quietly, while optical makes more noise. Solid state is more durable, or the solid state is more robust, while optical is less durable. Solid state has a larger storage capacity, while optical has a much smaller limit to its storage capacity. As solid state is more expensive per GB of data, while optical is much cheaper per GB of data. Solid state stores data into silicon chips, or it is using transistors, using logic floating control or NAND or NOR gates to control the movement of electrons, while optical storage is using it's using lasers to burning bits and lands onto a disk. So see, a student can write any of the answers, and you remember the basic points I suggest you, and you will be able to score so easily. But remember, when it comes to difference, you have to write down the difference in this manner: solid state while optical, solid state while optical, solid state while optical, and that will give you 1 mark. Okay? And in this manner, you can write down, like in this manner also, maybe they can give you the marks like this. Maximum 3 for one type only. So see, this is how you can answer, and you will be able to score. Question number 10. A garage uses an expert system to help diagnose any problems with cars that need repair. Expert system is an example of AI. Describe what is meant by AI. See, what is artificial intelligence? The simulation of intelligent behaviors by computers, a collection of data and the rules for using the data, has the ability to reason, has the ability to learn or adapt. So if a student has written any 2 points from the given list, especially paying attention to the, I suggest you that you better know the right definition. That is, like, the definition should be understood and learned by you people. And that is simulation of intelligent behavior of the of the humans. And that is done by the computers, exactly. So in this manner, you'll be able to score 2 out of 2. A car has a problem with its braking system, so it is brought into the garage. Explain how the expert system operates and how it is used to help diagnose the problem. Now, it's a 5-mark question. Now, they're asking you, how will you attempt this task? How will you do it? Any 5 from. The user will enter data into the interface. Now, you just recall it, expert system, by the way. How do you handle it? How is it operating? Definitely, they're not asking about the storage right now, but they're asking how it operates. So once the user is going to enter the data into the interface, so what will happen next? The inference engine will decide which questions to ask. So actually, the keywords, let's actually underline the keywords. The first keyword that your answer should contain will be interface. Then second keyword is going to be the inference engine. I hope that you remember that term. Then the third keyword is going to be that, definitely again you're going to talk about the inference engine, finding out the answers through the knowledge base and rule base. And then interface will output the diagnosis or the result, and explanation system also. And these are the key. You need to recall and remember these keywords. So how will you frame the answers? And remember, it's explanation. So you have to answer using the right terminologies. So I've underlined the key terminologies. So you are able to frame the answer the way they desire. Okay, just underlining so that we can recall and attempt the paper properly. So the user will enter the data into the interface the way you are going to type. After you have typed the instructions or whatever you desire, the inference engine will decide which questions to ask. So it will decide, definitely it will search its own, and its own, can say, whatever is stored inside it. And from there, it will decide which questions to ask. And by using the previous answers, the inference engine will decide on a diagnosis. So once you have answered to all its questions, it will decide on a diagnosis. And this diagnosis is going to be done by comparing the data or answers with the expert systems, knowledge base, and rule base. So this is what will be happening. It will be, first of all, once the inference engine has decided on a diagnosis, it has found some solution to the problem. So it is going to do it by comparing the answers And these answers will be compared with all the knowledge, with all the data that is saved in the knowledge base, and definitely the rule base that is also present. And this is done by calculating which option is most likely there are multiple. Like, for example, maybe there are many options. So out of this, which one is the closest one? Which one is the most, is the best choice? And the inference engine will now output the result, and the explanation system shows how the diagnosis was reached. So these points are going to get you 5 out of 5. Okay? Look it up. A company has a website. Users use the internet and the World Wide Web to access the website. Describe the difference between the internet and World Wide Web. By the way, what is internet and what is www? We have been talking about, are they same? Can we use them interchangeably? That's great. That's great. Wonderful. Internet is different and World Wide Web is different. So internet is the infrastructure, while World Wide Web is a collection of web pages. And the one that you can mention and the student can mention is internet makes use of TCP/IP protocol, while when you talk about the World Wide Web, it uses HTTPS or HTTP protocol. And it's going to get you 2 out of 2. The website has a URL, Uniform Resource Locator. The URL has 3 different paths. Can you recall, identify 3 different paths that are included in the URL? Okay, that's wonderful. Can you recall quickly? One of it you have recalled. 3 parts of the URL. Okay, excellent, Ali. It's your protocol, the domain name, and the file name. Or I can say web page name. So in this manner, you can easily score 3 out of 3. One function of a web browser is to provide an address bar for a user to enter a URL. That is what we see. Give 3 other functions of a web browser. What else is a web browser doing? See, what is it doing? So simple. It's a 3-mark question, so you can score easily if you have written the answers. It is there to display a web page, so simple. It's there to store bookmarks or maybe favorites. It's there to record user history. It's there allowing use of multiple tabs. It stores cookies. It provides navigation tools and set a home page. So simple functions of a web browser, if you have learned, if you have remembered, then you can answer and you will be able to score 3 out of 3. By the way, just telling you, if you want, there are separate videos for all of these topics, like for web functions of a web browser, for the URL. There are different, like even the HTTPS, besides this, the internet and www, their differences. So there are videos for each of these topics. So if you want, you can go through the channel, watch the videos, and share that what else you want me to make the videos on. Do not hesitate at all. Write it in the comments so that I will know what you want me to work on. Okay? Jazakallah khairan kaseera for being a part of the learning journey. If you have liked my videos, please subscribe. Please definitely share with your friends and family. Ask them to also subscribe the channel so that they all are going to benefit. They all are going to be in the learning process. Take very good care of yourselves. May Allah bless you. May Allah help you in your learning journey. Allah Hafiz once again.